Hello there, fellow garden enthusiasts. Welcome to Bright Days. I'm Margaret, and just like many of you, my garden isn't just a patch of soil. It's my sanctuary, my little piece of paradise, where time slows down and nature works its magic right before my eyes. But let's be honest with each other. Gardening after 60 isn't quite what it used to be, is it? Those knees that once let us kneel for hours now protest after just a few minutes. That back that could bend all day now reminds us we're not as young as we once were. And have you seen the prices of garden supplies lately? Goodness! It feels like you need a small fortune just to grow a few tomatoes. Here's the wonderful news though. You don't need to empty your wallet or strain your body to create and maintain a beautiful garden. After decades of getting my hands dirty and learning through trial and error, I've discovered that the best gardening solutions aren't found in fancy stores. They're hiding right in your home, waiting to be repurposed and given new life. Today I'm sharing 15 completely free gardening hacks that will transform how you garden. But I'm not just telling you what to do, I'm showing you exactly how to do it. For each hack you'll see detailed demonstrations, close-up images of every step, and most importantly, I'll share the challenges you might face, and how to overcome them. I've organized these tips by seasons and plant types, so you'll know exactly when and where to apply each technique for maximum benefit. I've tested all these methods in my own garden, through spring frosts, summer heat waves, and everything in between. Some worked perfectly the first time, others needed adjustments, and I'll share all those lessons with you. Before we dig in, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button to join our Bright Days community. I share new gardening wisdom every week specifically designed for those of us with a bit more life experience, who refuse to give up the joy of growing things. Now, grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's explore these garden hacks together. Your back, your wallet, and your beautiful plants will thank you. Let's start with something we all probably have tucked away in a cabinet somewhere. An old cake stand. You know the one I'm talking about. Maybe it was a wedding gift, or perhaps it belonged to your mother. It's beautiful. But let's be honest. How often do we actually use these things nowadays? Instead of letting it gather dust, let's give it new purpose in your garden. Here's exactly how to turn it into a charming bird feeder that will bring life, color, and movement to your outdoor space. First, choose the right cake stand. Ideally, you want one with a pedestal base for height and a wide, shallow top plate. Glass or ceramic works beautifully, but avoid plastic ones as they deteriorate quickly outdoors. If you don't have one, check thrift stores. I've found gorgeous vintage stands for just $1 or $2. Now for placement. This is crucial. Position your stand about 5 to 6 feet off the ground, and at least 10 feet from dense shrubs where predators might hide. I've found that placing it where you can see it from your favorite window creates a natural bird TV for those days when getting outside is difficult. For the seed, different birds prefer different types. For a variety of visitors, I recommend a quality wild bird mix. Spread it evenly across the surface, about ½ inch deep. Notice how I'm creating a thin layer rather than a mound. This prevents seed from getting wet and mold. Now, here are some challenges you might face, and how to solve them. First, squirrels. These clever creatures will find your feeder, guaranteed. To deter them, add a dome baffle above your stand, like this one I made from an old plastic bowl. Simply drill a hole in the center, and thread it onto your mounting pole. Second, cleanliness is vital. Birds can spread diseases at dirty feeders. I clean mine weekly, using a solution of 1 part vinegar to 9 parts water. Remove all old seed first, then scrub thoroughly. Third, weather protection. During heavy rain, I add this simple roof made from a clear plastic container lid supported by 3 small dowels. It keeps the seed dry while still allowing birds full access. This hack works best in spring, when birds are nesting, and winter when natural food is scarce. I've found it particularly effective near flowering fruit trees in spring. The birds you attract will help pollinate while controlling insect pests. The joy of watching a bright cardinal or cheerful chickadee visit your repurposed cake stand is truly one of gardening's simple pleasures. And on those mornings when arthritis is flaring up, there's nothing better than enjoying your garden vicariously through these beautiful visitors. Now, let's talk about a frustration we've all experienced. Where on earth did I put my pruners, or my garden glove, or that packet of seeds I just had in my hand? If you're anything like me, you probably spend more time hunting for tools than actually using them. This next hack solves that problem beautifully, using something many of us already have sitting around: An old terracotta pot. Let me show you how to transform it into the perfect garden tool organizer that saves your back, knees, and precious gardening time. First, select the right pot. You want one that's sturdy but not too heavy. About 8 to 10 inches in diameter is this medium size holds plenty of tools without becoming immovable once filled. Notice I've chosen one with a slight crack. That's perfectly fine for this project. We're giving it new life. Now let's prepare it properly. Start by thoroughly cleaning your pot and allowing it to dry completely. For extra protection, I recommend applying a clear waterproof sealer to the inside, like this. This prevents moisture from seeping through and extends the life of your organizer. Demonstrating application of sealer. Here's a clever addition. I'm attaching these small furniture casters to the bottom using waterproof adhesive. This makes your tool holder mobile, so you can easily roll it alongside you as you work through different garden areas. For the cover, a matching saucer works perfectly. I've added this small wooden knob to the center, using waterproof glue, creating an easy-to-grip handle. To keep the cover from sliding off, I've glued these small rubber bumpers inside the rim. Now let's talk about potential challenge. First, terracotta is porous and can develop hairline cracks over time, especially in freezing weather. To prevent this, bring your tool holder indoors during winter months, or wrap it in bubble wrap if it must stay outside. Second, if you find the pot is still too heavy to move easily, try this solution. Fill the bottom third with packing peanuts or bubble wrap before adding your tools. This creates a lightweight base while still providing stability. Third, moisture can accumulate inside, potentially rusting tool. I solve this by placing this small packet of silica gel inside and replacing it monthly. You can reuse these by drying them in a low oven. This hack is especially valuable during spring planting and summer maintenance, when you're actively working in your garden. I keep mine near my vegetable beds where I need tools most frequently. For annual plantings that require regular attention, having all your tools within arm's reach saves countless trips back and forth to the shed, something your knees and back will certainly appreciate. Let's face it, one of the biggest challenges for gardeners our age is the physical strain. Bending down to plant seedlings, kneeling to pull weeds, and stooping to harvest vegetables can turn a joyful hobby into a painful ordeal. But what if I told you that perfect solution is sitting right in your garage or storage shed? That's right. An old trash can can be transformed into an ideal raised planter that brings your garden up to a comfortable working height. Let me show you exactly how to do it, and more importantly, how to avoid the common pitfalls that can occur with this hack. First, choose the right trash can. Look for one made of sturdy plastic, not too flimsy as it needs to hold soil without buckling. This 32-gallon size is perfect, tall enough to minimize bending, but not so tall that you can't reach the bottom. Avoid metal cans as they can rust and potentially leach chemicals into your soil. Now for the crucial step, drainage. Without proper drainage, your plants will drown. Using a drill with a 1/2-inch bit, create these drainage holes in a grid pattern across the bottom, about 3 inches apart. Then add a few along the bottom edge of the sides, like this, to prevent water from pooling at the base. Here's where many people go wrong. They just fill the can with soil and start planting. But that much soil is not only heavy but expensive. Instead, create this layered system. First, add a 4-inch layer of empty plastic bottles or crushed aluminum cans as fill. Next, add a layer of cardboard to prevent soil from sifting through. Then add this 6-inch layer of twigs and small branches, which will decompose slowly and add nutrients over time. Now for the growing media. I use this mixture, 2 parts garden soil, 1 part compost, and 1 part perlite or vermiculite for drainage. Fill to about 6 inches from the top, allowing room for watering without overflow. Let's address some common challenges. First, lightweight plastic cans can become top-heavy and tip over. To prevent this, I place several heavy rocks in the very bottom before adding other materials. You can also partially bury the bottom few inches in the ground for added stability. Second, plastic degrades in sunlight. To extend the life of your planter, apply this UV-resistant spray to the exterior. For a more attractive look, you can paint the outside with exterior paint. I've used this lovely blue shade that complements my garden colors. Third, extreme temperatures can be a problem. In hot weather, the container can overheat, cooking your plant's roots. I solve this by positioning it in a spot that gets morning sun but afternoon shade. In winter, the soil can freeze solid. If you're growing perennials, wrap the container with bubble wrap or burlap for insulation. This raised planter is perfect for shallow-rooted vegetables like lettuce, spinach, radishes and herbs. It's also ideal for flowers that benefit from good drainage, such as marigolds and petunia. I use mine year-round, switching crops seasonally, spring greens, summer herbs, fall flowers and even winter pansies in milder climates. The joy of harvesting fresh lettuce without kneeling or bending is absolutely worth the small effort of creating this planter. Your back will thank you. Have you noticed how expensive plants have become? A small herb plant can cost $4 or $5 and decorative perennials often run $15 or more each. But what if I told you that you could multiply your favorite plants absolutely free, using things you already have at home? Plant propagation might sound technical, but it's actually one of the most rewarding and economical gardening skills you can master. Let me show you exactly how to create new plants from cuttings, with specific techniques for different plant types and seasons. First, let's talk about what makes a good cutting candidate. The best plants for beginners include coleus, mint, basil, rosemary, geraniums and pothos. Notice how I'm looking for these key features: healthy growth, no flowers on the stem I'm selecting, and stems that aren't too woody or too soft. For soft-stemmed plants like coleus or basil, cut just below a leaf node. That's this slightly swollen area where leaves emerge. Make a clean cut at a 45-degree angle using sharp scissors or pruners. Remove the lower leaves, leaving just 2 to 3 sets at the top. Now, you have 2 excellent rooting methods. For the water method, place your cutting in a clear glass container with about an inch of water, making sure no leaves are submerged. Change the water every 3 to 4 days to prevent bacteria growth. Look at this basil cutting. After just 10 days, you can see these beautiful white roots forming. For the soil method, which works better for woody herbs like rosemary, dip the cut end in rooting hormone. Here's a natural alternative you can make at home using a tablespoon of honey dissolved in a cup of boiling water, cooled completely. Then plant in a small pot with this light rooting mix, equal parts perlite and seed-starting soil. Now for the challenges you might encounter. First, rotting stems. This usually happens when cuttings sit in stagnant water or overly wet soil. The solution is simple: change water frequently, and ensure soil cuttings have excellent drainage. Second, cuttings that refuse to root. This often happens when you take cuttings at the wrong time or from the wrong part of the plant. The best time for most cuttings is late spring through summer, when plants are actively growing. For roses specifically, take cuttings in late fall or early winter for best results. Third, transplant shock. When moving rooted cuttings from water to soil, they sometimes wilt dramatically. To prevent this, wait until roots are at least 1 to 2 inches long, and for the first week, create a mini greenhouse by covering with a clear plastic bag, removing it daily for an hour to prevent mold. This propagation hack works beautifully year-round for houseplants. For outdoor plants, spring and summer are ideal for soft-stemmed plants, while fall is perfect for hardwood cuttings from shrubs like hydrangeas and roses. The satisfaction of growing a full-sized plant from a tiny cutting is truly special, and knowing you've created a garden full of plants without spending a dime makes it even sweeter. It's like getting interest on your garden investment. There's nothing more heartbreaking than losing tender seedlings to an unexpected frost or cold snap. Commercial cloches and plant covers can cost $10 to $20 each. Money that could be better spent elsewhere in your garden. But look around your home. The perfect solution is probably sitting in your recycling bin or tucked away in a cabinet. Those glass jars, vases, and even old light fixtures can be transformed into perfect mini greenhouses that protect your precious plants while costing absolutely nothing. Let me show you how to use them effectively, and avoid the common mistakes that can turn these protective covers into plant killers. First, select the right glass containers. Clear glass works best as it allows maximum sunlight. I look for containers with wide openings and sufficient height. Mason jars, pickle jars, old vases, and even glass light shades work beautifully. This tall cylindrical vase is perfect for protecting taller seedlings, while this wide-mouthed pickle jar works well for broader plants. Preparation is simple but important. Thoroughly clean your containers with hot, soapy water and rinse well, to remove any residues that might harm plants. For jars that had strong-smelling contents like pickles or olives, a soak in a baking soda solution helps eliminate lingering odor. Now for proper placement. Gently place the glass container over your seedling, pressing it slightly into the soil to create a seal. Be careful not to damage the plant or root. For very small seedlings, I sometimes add these small supports. Simply use twigs to prevent the glass from crushing delicate stems. Here's where many gardeners go wrong. They forget that these mini greenhouses can heat up dramatically on sunny days. Even on cool spring days, temperatures inside can soar to plant-killing levels. To prevent this, I use one of 2 methods. Either remove the covers during the day when temperatures rise above 60 Fahrenheit, and replace them in late afternoon, or create ventilation like this. For ventilation, simply prop up one side of the jar slightly, using a small stone or wooden block. On warmer days, increase the opening size. On colder nights, reduce it or close it completely. This small thermometer helps me monitor the temperature inside larger containers. Showing temperature monitoring. Another challenge is condensation. Too much moisture can promote fungal diseases and damping off. If you notice excessive condensation, increase ventilation immediately. For persistent problems, try this trick. Place a small piece of charcoal at the bottom of your container to absorb excess moisture. When to remove the covers permanently. Watch for these signs. Your seedling touching the top of the container, new leaf growth indicating establishment, or consistently warm temperatures both day and night. Transition gradually by increasing ventilation for several days before removing completely. This technique is most valuable during early spring and late fall when temperature fluctuations are greatest. It's perfect for protecting newly transplanted seedlings, tender herbs like basil and cilantro, and heat-loving vegetables like peppers and eggplants that sulk in cool conditions. I've saved countless plants using this method, including these heirloom tomato seedlings that survived a surprise late frost that devastated my neighbor's unprotected garden. The best part, not a penny spent on expensive plant protection. Have you priced plant saucers lately? A simple plastic one can cost $5–8, and decorative options can run $15 or more. Meanwhile, most of us have extra plates tucked away in cabinets or collecting dust in storage. Instead of spending money on new saucers that often crack, leak or look plain unattractive, let's put those plates to work in your garden. This hack is about more than just saving money. It's about creating a more beautiful, functional garden, using items you already own. Let me show you exactly how to select and use plates as plant saucers, and how to avoid the common problems that might arise. First, let's talk about selecting the right plates. Look for ones with a slight lip or rim. Completely flat plates won't contain water effectively. Ceramic, porcelain and stoneware work beautifully, while I avoid paper-thin china that might crack under the weight of a pot. Size matters too. Choose plates about 1 to 2 inches wider than the base of your pot, to catch overflow without wasting space. Now let's prepare them properly. Check each plate for hairline cracks that might leak water onto your surfaces. For plates with small imperfections that you still want to use, apply this simple fix: a thin layer of clear silicone sealant along the crack, allowed to cure for 24 hours before using. For plates that are perfectly flat and might allow water to run off, try this simple modification. Apply these small adhesive rubber bumpers around the edge, creating a water-retaining barrier, while also protecting your furniture from scratches. Here's how to use them effectively. Place your plate first, then position your potted plant. For decorative arrangements, consider using plates that complement or contrast with your pot. Look at this grouping. I've used blue and white china plates with terracotta pots, for a lovely cottage garden feel. Now for the challenges you might encounter. First, staining ceramic plates can develop watermarks over time. To prevent this, apply a thin coat of clear acrylic sealer to the surface. For existing stains, this mixture of baking soda and hydrogen peroxide works wonders when applied as a paste. Second, slippery surface. Some glazed plates are so smooth that pots can slide around, potentially falling and breaking. My solution is to add these small non-slip pads between the pot and plate, almost invisible, but very effective. Third, mineral buildup from hard water. This white residue not only looks unsightly, but can eventually damage both plates and pots. I prevent this by emptying saucers promptly after watering, and for stubborn deposits, a vinegar solution removes them safely without damaging the finish. This hack is particularly useful for indoor plants that need consistent moisture, like ferns and peace lilies. For outdoor container gardens, I use more durable stoneware plates that can withstand weather changes. During rainy seasons, I elevate outdoor plates slightly using these small stones to prevent water logging. The versatility of plate saucers extends beyond function. They add personality and charm to your garden, while saving money and reducing weight. My neighbor admired these blue willow saucers so much, she started her own collection from thrift store finds. Remember, gardening should be both beautiful and practical, and sometimes the perfect solution is already sitting in your china cabinet. While we all love watching birds visit our gardens, there's another group of garden visitors that deserves our attention. Pollinators. Bees, butterflies and other beneficial insects are essential for a productive garden, responsible for pollinating approximately 75% of the fruits, vegetables and flowers we grow. But during hot, dry weather, these tiny garden helpers can struggle to find safe water sources. That's where this ingenious hack comes in, transforming unused bird feeders into perfect pollinator watering stations. It costs nothing, takes minutes to set up, and can dramatically increase the number of beneficial insects visiting your garden. Let me show you exactly how to do it, and how to avoid common mistakes. First, select the right bird feeder for conversion. Tray or platform feeders work best, but even hanging tube feeders can be adapted. The key is having a shallow container where you can add water and safe landing spot. This old wooden platform feeder is perfect, but I've also successfully used this damaged plastic tube feeder by removing the top and bottom. Now let's prepare it properly. Thoroughly clean your feeder with a mild bleach solution, 1 part bleach to 9 parts water, then rinse well and dry completely. This step is crucial. Residual birdseed can contain fungi harmful to insects, and bleach residue can harm pollinators. The most important element is creating safe landing zones. Pollinators, especially bees, can easily drown in open water. I add these small stones, marbles, or even wine corks to create islands where insects can safely land and drink without falling in. Arrange them so they create multiple pathways and some stones remain slightly above water level. For placement, position your watering station in a spot that receives morning sun but afternoon shade. This prevents the water from becoming too hot while still being visible to sun-loving pollinators. Keep it at least 10 feet from any areas treated with pesticides, even organic ones. Now for the challenges you might encounter. First, mosquito breeding. Standing water can quickly become a mosquito nursery. To prevent this, change the water every 2 to 3 days, especially after rain. For larger stations, add this small piece of copper wire. It won't harm pollinators but helps prevent mosquito larvae from developing. Second, balancing bee attraction with safety concern. If you're allergic to bee stings, or have young children, place your station in a less trafficked area of your garden. I found that bees tend to be completely focused on drinking, and rarely show defensive behavior around watering stations. Third, rapid evaporation during hot weather. In addition to placing in partial shade, I add this small piece of driftwood that extends above the water line. It absorbs moisture and provides additional drinking surfaces as the water level drops. This hack is most valuable during spring and summer when pollinators are most active. It's particularly beneficial near flowering vegetables like squash, cucumber, and tomatoes that depend heavily on pollinators. I place mine near my herb garden, which has resulted in noticeably better pollination of my basil and sage flowers, essential for seed save. The joy of watching a butterfly delicately drinking from your creation, or seeing bees lined up along the stones on a hot day, adds another dimension of pleasure to gardening. And knowing you're supporting these essential creatures while repurposing something old, that's gardening at its most rewarding. Did you know that every day, perfectly usable gardening materials are being thrown away in your neighborhood? While garden centers charge premium prices for bricks, soil, mulch, and containers, many people are literally giving these items away for free. This hack isn't just about saving money, it's about building community connections and reducing waste while creating your dream garden. I've furnished nearly half my garden with free materials, saving thousands of dollars over the year. Let me show you exactly where to look, what to look for, and how to overcome the challenges of using second-hand garden materials. First, let's talk about where to find these free treasures. Online platforms are gold mines. Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor, FreeCycle, and local Buy Nothing groups should be your first stops. Don't forget Craigslist's free section. I check these sites every Friday morning when people are planning weekend cleanouts and Sunday evenings when they're finishing projects. For the best results, set up alerts with these specific search terms: garden, landscaping, moving, renovating, clearing, and many people don't categorize items properly, so these broader terms catch more opportunities. When posting requests, be specific but flexible. Instead of asking generally for garden supplies, try senior gardener looking for bricks, or pavers for accessible pathway projects. Can collect within 10 miles of your area. Thank you. I found people are more responsive when they know their items are going to a good purpose. Now what should you look for? The most valuable free items include pavers and bricks from renovation projects, plastic pots from garden centers, clearing seasonal stock, soil and mulch from landscaping projects, stones and rocks from excavations, and plants from people dividing perennials or moving home. Let's address the challenges. First, transportation. Many seniors don't have trucks or the ability to move heavy materials. My solutions for smaller items: use collapsible crates in your car trunk. For larger items, consider a buddy system with a neighbor who has a truck, offering to share the materials or help with their garden in exchange. Second, safety concerns with used material. Always inspect thoroughly. Avoid pressure-treated lumber that might contain harmful chemicals. Check bricks for crumbling that indicates frost damage, and examine soil for weeds or pests. For used pots and containers, this simple bleach solution, 1 part bleach to 9 parts water, effectively sterilizes them. Third, timing mismatches between availability and need.
Create this simple materials bank area in an unused corner of your yard. I organize my finds on these repurposed pallets, covered with clear plastic to protect them until needed. This allows me to collect materials year-round. Seasonally, spring cleanup, March-April, and fall cleanouts, September-October yield the most material. Early spring is perfect for finding mulch, as landscapers start new projects, while fall is ideal for sourcing plants as people divide perennials. I created this entire raised bed area, using bricks from a neighbor's patio renovation, materials that would have cost over The stone path leading to my shed came from someone's excavation project, and these beautiful ceramic pots were left behind when someone moved houses. Remember, one person's unwanted items are another gardener's treasure. With a little persistence and community connection, your garden can flourish without emptying your wallet. Garden ornaments and decorations add personality and charm to our outdoor spaces, but they take a beating from the elements. Sun fades colors, rain causes rust, and winter freezes create cracks. Before you spend money replacing that weathered gnome or rusty planter, take a look in your garage or storage area. Those partial cans of paint can breathe new life into tired garden decor. This hack not only saves money but allows you to create a coordinated garden color scheme while keeping perfectly good decorative items out of landfills. Let me show you exactly how to transform weathered garden pieces into fresh focal points, with specific techniques for different materials. First, let's assess what paints work best outdoors. For most garden decor, exterior latex paint provides excellent durability. Oil-based enamel works well for metal items. The good news is that even interior paint can work if you apply a clear waterproof sealer afterward. Check your paint cans. Even those with just an inch or two left can cover small garden items. Preparation is crucial for longevity. For metal items with rust, use a wire brush like this to remove loose rust. Then apply this rust converter. It transforms rust into a paintable surface. For wooden items, sand away peeling paint and apply a thin layer of exterior wood primer. For terracotta or concrete, brush away loose material and apply a masonry sealer first. Now for application technique. For intricate items like this garden gnome, I use this small artist's brush to reach detailed areas, then a wider brush for larger surfaces. For planters and pots, this small foam roller gives the smoothest finish without brush mark. Always apply thin coats. 2 thin layers last longer than 1 thick one. Let's address the challenges. First, paint durability in harsh weather. The secret is proper sealing after your paint is completely dry. At least 24 hours. Apply this clear UV-resistant outdoor seal. Pay special attention to the top surfaces that receive direct sunlight and any areas where water might pool.
Second, safety concerns with paint fumes, especially important for seniors with respiratory issues. Always work in a well-ventilated area, preferably outdoors. If you're sensitive to fumes, try these low V8 or water-based paints, and wear this type of mask designed specifically for paint vapors. Third, winter storage challenges. Paint can crack when exposed to freeze-thaw cycles. For smaller items, I create this simple winter storage area under my covered porch using these plastic storage bins. For larger items that can't be moved, apply this additional layer of wax sealant in fall for extra protection. This technique works best in early spring before the gardening season begins in earnest. I coordinate colors with my flowering plants. This blue planter complements my purple salvia and white daisies, while these terracotta pots painted in sunny yellow echo my black-eyed Susans that bloom in late summer. Look at the transformation of this metal watering can. It was rusted and faded, but with proper preparation and this cheerful red paint, it's now a decorative highlight near my cottage garden. The small birdhouse was gray and weathered, but now provides a bright welcome in my entrance garden after a quick refresh with leftover trim paint. The satisfaction of giving new life to garden decor is tremendous, and knowing you've saved both money and landfill space makes your garden even more beautiful. When most people spot insects in their garden, their first instinct might be to reach for pesticide. But here's a gardening truth I've learned over decades. Many insects are actually your best allies in maintaining a healthy, productive garden. Ladybugs devour aphids, ground beetles eat slugs, and parasitic wasps control caterpillars, all without chemicals that might harm you, your pets, or your plants. The secret to harnessing this free pest control: create a bug hotel that attracts and shelters beneficial insects. This costs absolutely nothing to make, using materials you can find in your yard, and can dramatically reduce pest problems while supporting biodiversity. Let me show you exactly how to build one that really works. First, gather your materials. You'll need a container, an old wooden box, a large tin can, Even a section of log with holes drilled into it works perfectly. Then collect filling materials. Hollow stems from plants like bamboo or reeds, pine cones, small pieces of bark, dried leaves, small twigs and bits of broken terracotta pot. Each material attracts different beneficial insects. Now for construction. Start with your container. This old wooden drawer is perfect. If using something like this, add a simple roof using scrap wood or plastic to keep rain from soaking the contents. For this roof, I've used this old plastic planter cut in half and attached with outdoor rated screw. The key to an effective bug hotel is creating different compartments with various materials. Hollow stems cut to 6 to 8 inch lengths and bundled together attract solitary bees, excellent pollinators. Rolled cardboard provides shelter for ladybugs and lacewings that eat aphid. Pine cones and bark create hiding spots for beetles and spiders that control slugs and mosquitoes. For placement, position your bug hotel in a spot that receives morning sun but afternoon shade. Mount it securely at eye level on a fence post or tree trunk, facing south or southeast if possible. Keep it at least 12 inches off the ground to prevent dampness and away from areas where you use even organic pesticides. Let's address common challenges. First, dampness and mold can make your hotel uninhabitable. The solution is proper drainage and ventilation. I create this slight downward tilt when mounting and ensure the roof extends beyond the sides to direct rainwater away. Second, finding the right balance between attracting beneficial insects and inviting pests. The secret is diversity of materials and compartment sizes. Small holes, 2 in rows, attract solitary bees while keeping out larger, potentially problematic insects. I avoid using materials like straw that might attract rodents. Third, maintaining your hotel through the season. I inspect mine quarterly, gently removing spider webs from entrances and replacing any wet or moldy materials. In late winter, I add fresh hollow stems to replace any that have deteriorated, ensuring spring emerging insects have suitable homes. This approach is most effective when implemented in early spring before beneficial insects begin their active season. Place your hotel near plants that commonly attract pests. Roses prone to aphids, vegetables vulnerable to caterpillars, or fruit trees that benefit from pollination. The results can be remarkable. In my own garden, after installing 3 simple bug hotels, I've seen aphid problems decrease by about 70% on my roses, increased pollination in my vegetable garden, and a noticeable reduction in slug damage, all without using a single chemical spray. Remember, gardening with nature rather than against it not only saves money but creates a healthier environment for everyone, including you. Those eggshells you've been tossing in the trash, they're actually garden gold in disguise. Commercial seed starting trays can cost 15 to 20%, and organic pest control products aren't much cheaper. Meanwhile, the humble eggshell offers a completely free solution for both challenges. This dual-purpose hack has been a game changer in my garden, and I'm excited to show you exactly how to implement it effectively. First, let's prepare perfect eggshell seed starters. Begin by carefully cracking your eggs. Instead of breaking them in half, tap around the pointed end to remove just the top third, leaving a deeper cup. Rinse thoroughly with warm water. Then sterilize by either boiling for 5 minutes or baking at 200. This eliminates any salmonella risk and prevents mold growth. Now, create drainage holes. This is crucial but tricky. Use a small nail and gentle pressure to make a single hole in the bottom of each shell. Too much pressure will shatter the shell, so work slowly. I place the shell on this foam pad for support while making the hole. For planting, fill each shell about 3/4 full with seed starting mix, not garden soil which is too heavy. Plant 1 or 2 seeds per shell depending on size. These work beautifully for herbs, flowers, and small vegetable seedlings like lettuce or kale. Label them using these small wooden markers or write directly on the shell with a non-toxic marker. Place your planted eggshells in this repurposed egg carton, which makes watering and moving them simple. For watering, use a spray bottle to avoid washing out seeds, and place in bright indirect light until germination occurs. Now, for pest control, specifically for slugs and snails that can devastate tender plants, save additional eggshells and dry them completely on a paper towel. Once dry, crush them into sharp fragments using a rolling pin or food processor. The key is creating sharp edges, not powder, so don't over-process. Sprinkle these crushed shells in a 2-inch wide band around vulnerable plants. Slugs and snails avoid crossing this barrier because the sharp edges are uncomfortable against their soft bodies. Reapply after heavy rain as the shells will eventually break down. Let's address the challenges. First, fragility. Eggshells can crack easily when moved. My solution is to wait until seedlings have their first true leaves before transplanting, and handle them by supporting the bottom rather than gripping the sides. Second, inadequate nutrition for longer-term growth. Seedlings quickly deplete the minimal soil in eggshell. I monitor for signs of yellowing or stunted growth, and transplant promptly when seedlings reach about 2 inches tall. The entire shell goes into the ground. No need to remove the seedling, showing transplanting process. Third, eggshell barriers washing away in rain. For persistent rainy periods, I create this simple protection using clear plastic cups with the bottoms removed, placed over the eggshell barrier until drier weather returns. This technique is most valuable in early spring, when starting seeds and when tender plants are emerging. It's particularly effective for protecting seedlings of hostas, lettuce and basil, favorites of slugs and snails. The calcium-rich eggshells also benefit tomatoes and peppers, helping prevent blossom end rot when planted alongside them. Last spring I started over 40 herb seedlings in eggshells, saving approximately $80 compared to buying nursery plants. The slug barriers protected my hostas so effectively that for the first time in years, they emerged with perfect, hole-free leaves. This simple kitchen waste item truly becomes a gardener's treasure with just a little effort. Proof that sometimes the best gardening solutions don't come from a store but from your own kitchen. Every time you cook pasta, vegetables or eggs, you're likely pouring liquid gold right down the drain. That cooking water is packed with nutrients that plants love. Calcium, potassium, nitrogen, and trace minerals that would otherwise cost you $15 to $20 per bottle at the garden center. This simple hack transforms kitchen waste into valuable garden nutrition, saving money while reducing water waste. Let me show you exactly how to harness this free resource effectively, which waters work best for different plants, and how to avoid common mistakes that could harm your garden. First, let's identify which cooking waters are beneficial. The nutritional superstars include water used to boil eggs, rich in calcium; pasta water contains nitrogen and starch; and vegetable cooking water packed with vitamins and minerals. This chart shows the primary nutrients in each type of cooking water and which plants benefit most. The most important rule: only use unsalted cooking water. Salt can damage soil structure and dehydrate plants. If you've added salt, that water belongs in the drain, not your garden. Also avoid water used to cook meat, as fats can attract pests and create unpleasant odor. Proper cooling and storage are crucial. Allow the water to cool completely before using. Hot water can shock plant roots and kill beneficial soil microorganisms. If you're not using it immediately, store in these clear containers with tight-fitting lids for up to 3 days in the refrigerator. Label with date and type for best results. For application, dilution is key, especially for stronger waters like egg or pasta water. I use this simple ratio: 1 part cooking water to 4 parts regular water for container plants, and 1 to 2 for garden bed. This measuring cup makes it easy to get the proportions right. Now, for targeted applications, calcium-rich egg water works wonders for tomatoes, peppers, and eggplants, helping prevent blossom end rot. Apply it every 2 weeks during fruiting season. Starchy pasta water benefits flowering plants like roses and dahlias, promoting stronger blooms. Vegetable water is perfect for leafy greens, providing a balanced mix of nutrients. Let's address common challenges. First, the potential smell of stored cooking water. My solution is to add these few drops of lemon juice to the container. It neutralizes odors without harming plants, and adds a touch of acidity that many plants appreciate. Second, preventing mold growth during storage. Never store cooking water in warm places. Always use clean containers, and don't keep it longer than 3 days. If you notice any signs of mold or fermentation, discard immediately. It can introduce harmful fungi to your soil. Third, avoiding over-fertilization. Even natural fertilizers can cause problems when over-applied. Watch for these signs of excess feeding: unusually rapid, leggy growth, leaf burn, or wilting despite adequate water. If you notice these symptoms, flush the soil with plain water, and reduce application frequency. This technique is valuable year-round, but especially beneficial during active growing seasons: spring for vegetables and summer for flowering plants. I apply egg water to my tomatoes every other week from flowering until harvest, and my pasta water goes to flowering perennials monthly, during bloom season. Last summer, my neighbor commented on my vibrant dahlias, assuming I was using expensive fertilizers. She was amazed to learn my secret was simply recycled pasta water. Not only did I save approximately $40 on fertilizer,
but my plants thrived with these gentle natural nutrients. Remember, sometimes the best garden solutions aren't found in bottles with fancy labels. They're already in your kitchen, just waiting to be repurposed. Weeding, it's the gardening task we all dread, especially as our knees and backs remind us we're not as young as we once were. Commercial weed barriers can cost $20.30 per roll, and chemical weed killers pose risks to pets, beneficial insects, and groundwater. But there's a completely free, environmentally friendly solution sitting in your recycling bin right now. Newspapers. This newspaper weed barrier technique has saved me countless hours of painful weeding while improving my soil quality at the same time. Let me show you exactly how to implement it effectively and avoid the common mistakes that can lead to disappointing results. First, gather your material. You'll need a stack of newspapers, about 10 to 15 sheets thick for effective weed suppression. Avoid glossy inserts and colored comics, as some contain heavy metals in the inks. Plain black and white newsprint is ideal. You'll also need a water source and mulch to cover the paper. Preparation is simple but crucial. Choose a relatively calm day. Wind can turn this into a frustrating experience. Begin by removing any existing large weeds by hand. Don't worry about tiny weeds or seeds. The newspaper will suppress those. Water the area thoroughly before laying paper. This helps newspaper stay in place and speeds decomposition from below. For application, overlap newspaper sheets by at least 4 inches. This is where many gardeners go wrong with too little overlap, allowing weeds to find light between sheets. Around established plants, cut an X shape and fold back the flaps to accommodate the stem. Immediately after placing each section, water thoroughly to prevent shifting and begin the adhesion process to the soil. The key to success is proper mulch coverage. Without it, exposed newspaper will blow away and break down too quickly. Apply 2 to 3 inches of your preferred mulch. Shredded leaves, straw, wood chips or compost all work well. This pine straw is particularly effective, as it knits together, holding everything in place. Now for the challenges. First, newspaper breaking down too quickly in rainy conditions. In particularly wet climates, I use this technique: alternate layers of newspaper with thin layers of mulch as you go, creating a lasagna-like structure that holds together better in heavy rain. Second, persistent perennial weeds that punch through the barrier. For tough areas with invasive weeds like bindweed or Bermuda grass, increase your newspaper thickness to 20-25 sheets, and monitor carefully. For extremely stubborn areas, I use this cardboard method instead. Flattened cardboard boxes provide even greater suppression. Third, newspaper exposure from shifting mulch. In windy areas or on slopes, I secure the edges with these U-shaped garden pins or heavy rocks, until the paper begins to decompose and integrate with the soil. Typically, this technique works best when applied in early spring before weed seeds germinate, or in fall to prepare beds for the following season. It's particularly effective in vegetable gardens, annual flower beds, and around established shrubs and trees. For perennial gardens, apply between plants in early spring before perennials emerge. The results can be dramatic. Last year I newspaper mulched half my vegetable garden as an experiment, leaving the other half with just regular mulch. The difference was remarkable. I spent approximately 75% less time weeding the newspaper section, and saw noticeably improved soil moisture retention during summer heat. As the newspaper breaks down, it adds organic matter to your soil, improving structure and feeding earthworm. It's truly a win-win: less weeding now, and better soil for the future, all from materials that would otherwise be recycled or discarded. Regular watering is essential for a thriving garden, but it can become challenging, especially during hot summer months, or when travel plans arise. Commercial self-watering systems can cost $15 to $30 per plant, and automatic irrigation systems run into hundreds of dollars. But there's a brilliant completely free solution hiding in your recycling bin: plastic bottle. This self-watering hack has saved countless plants during my vacations and reduced my daily gardening workload significantly. Let me show you exactly how to create effective systems for different plants and situations, and how to avoid common mistakes that can leave your plants either parched or drowning. First, select the right bottles. Clear bottles work best as they allow you to monitor water level. Size matters. Use 1-liter bottles for container plants, 2-liter bottles for small garden plants, and multiple bottles for larger specimens or during extreme heat. Bottles with smoother, thinner plastic are easier to modify than thick, rigid ones. Preparation requires precision. Remove labels and thoroughly clean bottles with mild soap and water. For the basic system, you'll need to create holes in the cap. Using this small drill bit or heated nail, Make 3 to 4 holes approximately 1/16 inch in diameter. The hole size is crucial. Too large and water drains too quickly. Too small and it may clog. For installation in containers, simply fill the bottle with water, replace the cap, quickly invert it, and push it into the soil about 2 to 3 inches deep. Position it approximately 4 to 6 inches from the plant stem. Not too close to avoid root damage. Not too far where roots can't access the moisture. For garden beds, I use this variation. Cut the bottom off the bottle, creating a funnel that extends above soil level. This allows for easy refilling without disturbing the bottle placement. Secure it with these small garden stakes to prevent tipping in windy conditions. Now for calculating duration. A standard 2-liter bottle with properly sized holes will water a medium-sized plant for approximately 5 to 7 days in moderate weather. This chart shows estimated durations based on bottle size, number of holes and typical weather conditions. For extended periods, use multiple bottles per plant or this reservoir connection system I've developed. Let's address common challenges. First, water flowing too quickly. If you notice the reservoir emptying within hours instead of days, your holes are too large. My solution: remove the cap and seal the existing holes with this waterproof tape. Then create smaller holes using a thinner needle. Second, clogging from mineral deposits or algae growth. To prevent this, use filtered water when possible, and add a few drops of white vinegar to prevent algae. For bottles that will remain in place long term, cover with this small sock or fabric sleeve to block light and prevent algae growth. Third, UV degradation, making plastic brittle over time. In extremely sunny locations, either replace bottles every 2 to 3 months, or use these UV-resistant bottles from sports drinks that contain stabilizers. Alternatively, wrap bottles in aluminum foil. This reflects heat and prevents degradation while also reducing algae growth. This technique is most valuable during summer heat waves and vacation periods. It's particularly effective for moisture-loving plants like tomatoes, cucumbers, and container gardens that dry out quickly. During my 3-week trip last summer, my neighbor was amazed to find my container garden thriving despite record heat, all thanks to these simple bottle water. For seasonal application, I use these in my spring lettuce bed to maintain consistent moisture for crisp leaves, and for newly planted perennials that need regular water to establish strong roots. In fall, they help new shrubs and trees prepare for winter by providing slow, steady hydration. With just a few minutes of preparation, these recycled bottles become valuable garden tools that reduce water waste, save time, and keep plants healthy, even when you can't be there to care for them. Limited garden space doesn't mean limited gardening possibility. As we age, bending and kneeling become increasingly challenging, but our love for gardening doesn't diminish. Commercial vertical garden systems can cost $50 $100 more, but there's a brilliant free alternative hanging in many closets: shoe organizer. This vertical gardening hack has revolutionized my growing space, allowing me to cultivate dozens of plants in areas I never thought possible, while keeping everything at a comfortable height. Let me show you exactly how to create an effective vertical garden from a shoe organizer, and avoid the common pitfalls that can lead to disappointing results. First, select the right organizer. Fabric pocket organizers work best as they allow for proper drainage and root aeration. Vinyl types can work but require more modification. Look for sturdy construction with reinforced seams and pockets at least 4 inches deep. This organizer with 24 pockets gives you space for 24 plants in just 2 square feet of wall space. Preparation is crucial for success. For fabric organizers, reinforce the hanging loops with this extra stitching to support the weight when filled with soil. For vinyl types, drainage is essential. Use this soldering iron or heated nail to create 3 to 4 small drainage holes in the bottom of each pocket. Without drainage, plants will quickly rot. For the growing medium, standard potting soil is too heavy and lacks adequate drainage. I use this custom mix: 60% lightweight potting mix, 20% perlite or vermiculite for drainage, and 20% coconut coir for water retention. This combination provides ideal growing conditions while minimizing weight. Installation location is critical. Choose a spot receiving appropriate light for your chosen plants. Most herbs and vegetables need at least 6 hours of sunlight. Secure the organizer to a fence, wall, or railing using these heavy-duty hooks or brackets that can support 30 to 40 pounds when fully planted and watered. Now for plant selection. The best candidates for pocket gardens are shallow-rooted plants, herbs like basil, thyme, and mint, strawberries, lettuce and other greens, succulents, and trailing flowers like lobelia or alyssa. This diagram shows ideal placement: drought-tolerant plants at the top, moisture-loving varieties in lower pockets where water naturally flows down, Let's address common challenges. First, uneven watering. Top pockets often dry out while bottom ones stay soggy. My solution is this simple drip irrigation system, made from aquarium tubing with small holes punched at each pocket level. For manual watering, use this gentle shower setting and water from the top, allowing excess to filter down naturally. Second, weight strain causing the organizer to tear or mounting to fail. Monitor the total weight, especially after watering. For extra support, I add this grid of garden twine across the back, creating a supportive web that distributes weight more evenly. Third, protection from extreme weather. In heavy rain, move portable organizers under shelter temporarily to prevent waterlogging. During heat waves, provide afternoon shade or use this reflective sunscreen material to reduce temperature. In colder regions, bring indoors or against a south-facing wall during winter months. This vertical garden works beautifully year-round with seasonal adjustments. In spring and summer, it's perfect for herbs and salad greens at waist height. No bending required for harvesting. Fall is ideal for cool season crops like spinach and kale. Indoors near a sunny window, it provides fresh herbs all winter. The space-saving aspect is remarkable. Last season I grew 16 different herbs, 4 types of lettuce and 4 strawberry plants in a single organizer hanging on my fence, producing approximately $75 worth of produce in a space that would otherwise be unused. For seniors with limited mobility or anyone with space constraints, this vertical garden brings the joy of growing things within comfortable reach, proving that gardening can remain a pleasure at any age, and in any space. Well, there you have it, my friends. 15 completely free gardening hacks that prove you don't need deep pockets or a young back to create and maintain a beautiful garden. As we've explored these techniques together, I hope you've seen that gardening after 60 isn't about giving up the activities we love. It's about adapting and finding smarter ways to continue doing them. Each of these hacks addresses the real challenges we face as older gardeners: physical limitations, fixed incomes, and the wisdom to know there's usually a simpler way to accomplish our goal. By repurposing items we already have, we're not just saving money, we're reducing waste and proving that creativity doesn't diminish with age. I've been using these techniques in my own garden for years now, and the difference has been remarkable. Where I once ended each gardening session with aching knees and a sore back, I now work comfortably at raised heights. Instead of spending hundreds on commercial products, I create solutions from materials that would otherwise be discarded. My garden has become more productive, more beautiful, and significantly less demanding on both my body and my wallet. What I love most about these hacks is how they connect us to the true spirit of gardening, working in harmony with nature, being resourceful, and finding joy in simple solutions. Our grandparents gardened this way out of necessity. We can choose to garden this way out of wisdom. I'd love to hear which of these ideas you'll try first in your own garden. Perhaps the vertical shoe organizer for your herbs, or maybe those self-watering plastic bottles for your vacation. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts or your own favorite gardening hack. Our Bright Days community grows stronger when we share our experiences with each other. If you've enjoyed these tips and want more gardening wisdom specifically designed for those of us with a bit more life experience, please subscribe to our channel. Each week, I share new ideas for making gardening more accessible, affordable, and joyful at any age. Next week we'll be exploring seasonal adaptations of these hacks for summer gardening. You won't want to miss it. Remember friends, age may change how we garden, but it need never diminish the joy we find there. Happy gardening, and until next time, may your days be bright and your garden bring you peace.